So welcome to this devotional. I wanted to talk a little bit today about greatness in serving. Years ago, I sat in a Bible study about Mark chapter 10, and I learned some insights at that study that have kind of stayed with me through the years, and I wanted to share these with you as a way to encourage you today. I love this picture. How many of you have seen this on Instagram or on Facebook? When I first saw it, it really resonated with me because I thought, yeah, it's a perfect example of how we can romanticize something without really appreciating the work that goes behind it. And ballet is definitely one of those things. I love the ballet and I have a tendency to romanticize it. I wanted to be a ballerina when I was younger, but I ended up being too tall, so it wasn't going to work out. But I just love the ballet. And I just love watching the ballerinas on stage. But I forget about the work and the dedication and the pain and the sacrifice that goes into becoming a prima ballerina. The swollen joints, the blisters, the blood, sweat, and tears that goes into it. It's easy for us to do that, isn't it? We tend to want to partake in someone else's success, someone else's glory, and we forget everything that this person went through to get there, right? Vince Lombardi once said, the only place success comes before work is in the dictionary. And sometimes we want to skip over the work part, don't we? And we just want the success. In Mark chapter 10, Jesus is telling his disciples about how they need to go to Jerusalem, where the Son of Man will be betrayed, condemned to death, delivered, mocked, scourged, spit on, and killed. But he will rise again on the third day. Right after this sermon that Jesus gives his disciples, they start talking amongst themselves, and he's approached by James and John, who ask him for a request. And Jesus asks, "What do you want me to do for you?" So remember that question. What do you want me to do for you? He asked them. And they said, grant us that we may sit one on your right and one on your left in your glory. So see, they wanted to participate and partake of the glory of Jesus, not even understanding what that was going to require of them, even though he had just told them that he was going to have to suffer mocking and scourging, spitting, humiliation, torture, and death. But they kind of skipped over that part, right? And they just wanted to go straight to participating in his glory. We're like that, aren't we? We like to romanticize and look at things and say, I want that. And then when we're reminded of the work and the pain and the sacrifice, we say, no, I don't want that. I'm a writer, and so sometimes we look at J.K. Rowling in the writing business as the pinnacle. She made it. She's the most successful author in history. It's estimated that every 30 seconds, someone in the world is picking up a Harry Potter book to read. Isn't that amazing? She became a billionaire. But a lot of people think that she had overnight success, and that's not true. She worked very hard on that first book. She was a single mom on welfare, the little baby girl. She would write at work. When she was a substitute teacher, she would write on the train going to and from home. She would write in cafes till late at night. And when she finished her book, she was rejected many times until finally her book was accepted by a publisher and she was successful. But it did not happen overnight. Yet so many of we writers tend to look at her and we want that success, and we don't want the work. So Jesus listened to his disciples, and then he answered them. He said, you do not know what you ask. Are you able to drink the cup that I drink and be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with? I mean, are you ready to be stripped and beaten and beard, ripped out and spit on and humiliated and tortured and die a criminal's death? Are you able? He said. We are able, they said in their naivety. naivete and their ignorance, right? Well, the other disciples heard them talking. And unfortunately, this request of James and John caused division among the disciples. And you can imagine some of the older ones saying, "What? I'm older, I should have the glory." And someone else saying, "Well, I've been with him longer, so I should have the glory." And back and forth and back and forth. It caused division. So Jesus had to admonish them. He said, "Why are you acting like this? You're acting like the Gentiles. You're acting like the pagans, like the world, and you're not supposed to be like that. You're supposed to be different. The Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." Jesus said, "The first of you shall serve the rest. You will be considered the least of all, and the least of you will be considered the greatest." So that must have been a harsh thing for them to hear. Later on, they walk to Jerusalem and they enter the temple, and a blind man is crying out to Jesus. But many warned him to be quiet, but he didn't care. He kept crying all the more, "Son of David, have mercy on me." So that title, Son of David, showed that he knew who Jesus was in the lineage of King David. And Jesus asked the same question, "What do you want me to do for you?" But he said, "That I might receive sight." He wasn't looking for glory. He just wanted sight. And Jesus said, "Go your way. Your faith has made you well." And immediately he received his sight and what? Followed Jesus. What if Jesus were to stand before you right now and ask you, "What do you want me to do for you?" Can you imagine? How would you answer that? Would you ask for healing? A promotion? Financial security? A legacy to leave behind? Fame? I mean, I wouldn't mind having a best-selling book, right? Turned into a movie. Power and influence? Or maybe it's more personal and you would ask for family, like marriage or children. All of these are fine, but they're temporary, aren't they? Maybe we should ask for the eternal. Give me sight that I may see you, Jesus. Yes, sometimes we just want the glory, don't we? The curtain calls, the roses, the accolades, the applause. But none of that really matters, right? We have to be willing to go through the pain and the discipline and the suffering in order to attain that. And that's what Jesus was trying to tell his disciples. He said in Matthew, "If anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me." That's what it takes to be a follower of Jesus. Remember the scourging, the mocking, the spitting, and the death. It's something to think about, isn't it? The disciples' response caused division. Jesus reminded them that they are to serve and not be served. He came to serve and not be served. And if there's anyone who ever came to earth who deserved to be served, it was Jesus. They had forgotten what he had just taught them, that he will suffer and die and rise again. Anyone who follows after Jesus must deny themselves. It's that simple. But we want to hop skip over that part, don't we? But it's worth it, isn't it? There's greatness in serving, yes. By putting others first, we deny ourselves and gain Jesus. Thanks for joining me today. God bless.